All right, so recently I made a video on how much ammo you should have for SHTF or just general preparedness. I think people take the whole SHTF thing a little too far, especially given some of the comments I've seen. There's definitely some people that take it a little too far and a little too literal. Although on the flip side, I do think it's a good idea to have ammo on hand, right? In that in the event of a SHTF situation, it would be worth its weight in gold, obviously a figure of speech, but you know what I mean. Um, like I say, there's some people that have the idea of, oh, you're not going to make it past one gunfight, so what's the point of having more than a couple hundred rounds? And then there's some people that it's like they can't sleep unless they have, at least 10 or 20,000 rounds for all their guns. Obviously, the truth is somewhere in the middle, which is why I do lean somewhere in the middle, right? But again, that's besides the point. The point of today's video is what are the best calibers? Now, again, there's two ways you can take this, meaning what are the best guns, or at least general class of guns. Also, just general what are the best calibers to stock up on, even if you might not even own them, right? Now, again, I have two general honorable mentions, those being 12 gauge and 9 millimeter, both calibers that I'm sure most gun owners probably own a gun in. 9 millimeter, probably not as much as far as Canadians go, but Americans, it's probably a staple. I mean, it is a staple, even amongst a lot of Canadians. Again, if you own a handgun, what's the first handgun for most people? Usually it's a 9 millimeter, maybe a 22, but usually a 9 millimeter, right? So those are, again, basically everybody owns a shotgun too, which is why I have 12 gauge in there as well. Um, in my mind, again, what are the top three? I have 223 556 being the top one, 762 by 39 being the number two, and 22 being the number three. I think you could make an argument that, to be honest, that 22 should be in that number two spot. But I still went with 762 by 39, just given how many SKSs there is in Canada, how many AK and AK variants there is in the States. It's never a bad idea to have 762 by 39, even if you don't own an SKS in Canada or an AK variant in the States. There's so many of those guns. Again, never a bad idea to have, some ammo for that. 22, again, 22 is one that's very controversial. I mean, everything's controversial when it comes to this stuff. But again, there's some people that have the mantra that, oh, you're never going to kill anything with a 22, which is true to a large degree. But what they fail to acknowledge is obviously it's not going to be for everybody. But you also have to look at the benefits of a 22, right? The benefits of 22 is you can carry a lot of ammo, right? You can carry 1,000 rounds of 22 and barely even notice it in a backpack. 1,000 rounds of 7.62 by 39 or 223, it's doable, but it's going to be very heavy, right? Even 1,000 rounds at 9 millimeter is going to be fairly heavy. 1,000 rounds at 12 gauge, don't even think about it, right? That's going to be like, I mean, the amount of space it would take up is I don't even think it's be possible to carry it. So that is why 22 is so versatile on that. And this is the other thing for the you're only going to go through a couple hundred rounds crowd. You could literally carry a whole stash of it. You could easily carry 1,000 or 2,000 rounds of 22 and not even have to worry about losing it, not have to worry about it being stored in a central location, et cetera, et cetera. Not to mention, too, there is some, the CCI Stingers of the world that, to be quite honest, again, if you put a well placed shot on someone, they're gonna feel it, right? I'm not saying you're gonna kill anyone for sure, but they're really gonna feel it, right? And not to mention too, again, it's very smooth to shoot. Um, no recoil, obviously. Anyone can shoot it. Like there is a lot of upside to a 22, right? Um, but again, why is a 223.556 the number one? Well, again, America's most popular gun shoots it, right? Obviously, the AR-15. Even in Canada, although the AR-15 is now, at least at the time of me making this video, banned, there's still a lot of guns out there that shoot it, right? And not only that, there's the idea that a ton of bolt actions shoot it as well, specifically 223, right? So I mean, at the end of the day, even if your AR is banned, it's a most gun owners are going to own a bolt action, right? Even if it's a bolt action in a 223, if you own an AR, I think it's a really good idea to have a bolt action in a 223 because you have that option of a gun that can make more precise shots, right? Chances are it has a longer barrel, so it's going to have a little more velocity, a little more power, a little more ability to reach out, right? In case you have to make a 400 or 500 yard shot, right? So that is my list of calibers. Again, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussion on the topic. So again, I'd love to hear people's positions, right? Like I say, I'm sure the Americans would be a little higher on the 9 millimeter. But again, as far as Canadians goes, and again, Canadians, I think we could make a point of the 7.62 by 39 being number one, but the problem is that if we keep going in the direction we're going, eventually all semi-auto center fires are going to be banned. So there's a lot of what ifs that could, move the list around a little bit. So that's another thing for people to keep in mind too, that I'm going off, like we have to go off. I mean, we don't have anything to go off, I guess is a better way of going, because the government we have in power right now is so unpredictable. We have no idea what's going to happen, right? For all we know, the gun ban could be struck down tomorrow, which obviously it should be. Um, but again, well, let's say all semi-autos are banned, that arguably would take 2235 and 762 by 39 off the list, or at least bump it down, right? What would be number one after that? Probably 22, to be quite honest, right? I mean, maybe like you're not going to have your bolt action, right? So that's the thing. It's like if all semi-autos are banned, I don't even know what we would do, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind. But in my mind, again, 223, 556 are the pretty clear one and two. 22, I think, is a pretty clear number three. And then after that, I think is where the debate really starts. Um, so again, I'd love to hear other people's opinions on the topic. So again, make sure you throw a comment down below. Again, like I say, love to hear people's opinions. So hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Again, like I say, throw a comment in the comments section and stay tuned for more.